Hello there, Gianni De Carlo. I am so glad that you're on the red couch today.
Hi, Angie. So am I. I'm looking forward to this exchange.
Yeah, me too. You and I, we have known each other for a long time. I think I remember that the first time we met was in a Zunfthaus at one of the events your employer organized. And that is at least 13 years ago. So we go back to for a while. And I think you were also the person who connected me to Ed Cohen, which I'm deeply grateful for because we're also still working together on many projects.
Yeah, great pleasure. I mean, the global mobility world is a small world, and I'm sure that during our talk today, we will come back to that topic as well.
Absolutely. Why don't we start with a small fun fact or something about you that most people don't read on the internet about you?
Well, I don't know if you see it on the background there. There's an ice skate, a
Uh-huh.
shoe, right? So I started playing ice hockey when I was 6 years young, and I still do. I still play. It's one of my passions and
Uh-huh.
my life and all the things I do. There's a lot of passion in it, and ice hockey is one. And the team that I'm playing for is a team that consists of a lot of friends from the childhood and my teenage time. So
Oh.
we have gone through thick and thin, couple of international trips together. So it's already a pleasure to go into the locker room, even an hour ahead of, when we practice
Uh-huh.
or when we have a game or a match,
Uh-huh.
because we talk about all the great old stories. And all the old jokes as well. So yeah, that's maybe a fun fact about me.
That is so sweet. And I didn't know that about you. So I learned something today.
You
That's
see?
great. Yeah, fantastic. So, what is your big why? Why are you working in this field? What drives you basically?
Mhm. Well, I talked about passion before. I also have a lot of credos, and one of my credo is, do what you love and love what you do.
Hmm.
So I've always enjoyed, traveling and being in an international environment. Um, you may know that I speak six languages fluently. So that's, another thing that I enjoy doing,
Hmm.
um, traveling, learning about other cultures, exchanging with people internationally. Once on a business trip with one of my former bosses, I think it was in Vienna at the time, when he saw how, I moved around in Vienna and the people I knew, he said, "Well, you seem to be home on earth." And in my role as business development director at
Yeah.
Crown, I think, this brings it all together. And I hope my boss is not listening today, but when I work, it doesn't feel like I'm working.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's a very good sign. So maybe, that's the reason why I do what I do.
Yeah. And I mean, I've seen you in action. You're also very smooth. You're not like one of these salespeople that just say, buy this, buy that, da, da, da. You have a very great and amazing consultative approach to, how you work with clients.
Yeah.
And I admire that about you. I've always admired, how you're actually, really providing value, even if the person isn't your client yet. And also, all of the events that you conducted in the past and all these things that I've seen where you were involved in the organization. I always
Mm.
admired that spirit. Um, how did you get to this place in your career where you are right now?
Well, I was born and raised just a footstep away from Zurich Airport.
Hmm.
And I still have the impression that I've got kerosene in my veins. So, um,
Okay.
I, so close to the airport, it was obvious that I started my career within the aviation industry.
Mhm.
And now talking, Angie, about, mid 80s. And I think looking back, that kind of was a gift and, kind of a foundation of my international career.
Uh-huh.
So I started working obviously with Swiss Air, with a commercial apprenticeship. When I had completed it, I already did my kind of first assignment to the UK. I spent nearly a year in London. So I started, getting an idea of what it means to work and live abroad. Then I did some further studies and I rejoined Swissair, and I was sent into an emerging talent program at the time that was preparing emerging talents, young talents for future roles abroad. So after completion of this, I was finally ready, to embark on a real assignment. That's when I was sent then to Spain, Madrid, Austria, to Vienna. In the early 2000s, I then moved back to Switzerland. I repatriated, but to the French-speaking parts of Geneva. And the family at that time was also created. I got married, got two girls. And that was also the time when I joined Crown for the first time, just for 3 years. Before I was hunted by an HR consulting firm who asked me to build up their commercial activities. But I always kept in good contact with Crown, and my colleagues, former colleagues at Crown, always ask me, how are you doing? How are you feeling? How are you enjoying your work? You want to come back? And after 3 years, I rejoined Crown, and that was back in 2010. And next year, I'm going to celebrate my 15-year service anniversary. So that is how I got where I am today. And as I said before, being 15 years in such a role, you really have to enjoy what you're doing.
Wow. Congratulations on the 15 years.
Thank you very much.
As I said, as I remember probably 13 years ago, the first time I met you. I didn't realize, you had just rejoined Crown a few years before.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I was just thinking about when you were talking about the Crown mobility report that came out in October, I think. Crown has been very good at, trend research and also, going deeper on some of the global mobility trends for years. Are you in any way, involved in this? How does it shape your work?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we got a practice leader for consulting services with Caitlin Payet, and it's she that basically on a yearly basis sets up, the main topics that we want to further analyze, that we are observing, and together as a team with some other internal stakeholders who are close to our clients, or me with my team who obviously are close to some prospects. We obviously regularly exchange with each other, shape the agenda for the coming year, and then we start working at such topics together.
Well, that's great. I especially love the technology part about how you can actually use artificial intelligence inside global mobility. Had some really good practical insights and ideas, which normally there's not so the ideas about how we use AI are usually not so well thought through, I would say. So that I really like that in the report. That was fantastic.
Well, thank you for your feedback. I think we're always looking at the very pragmatic approach as well, even for some more complex topics like artificial intelligence, right?
Yeah.
And I think another thing that maybe I am doing as well frequently, regularly, and you mentioned it before, the world of global mobility is small. So I like exchanging with, people like you, but other industry experts, and that's what keeps me motivated as well, because we alone, we are not the experts. We didn't invent or reinvent global mobility. There are so many aspects and facets to it, and working for a global organization like we are, obviously we learn a lot from our colleagues in Asia, in Australia, in the Americas, and that's also very fruitful for me, at least.
Awesome. Fantastic. And, I think we can see the benefit of that on the receiving end. And there are now maybe some young people listening to this thinking, this could be an interesting, area for me or profession to work in. And as we know, our professions are very diverse, and we have, we sometimes talk about the vendor side and the in-house side. However, at the end of the day, we're all participating in one product and one experience design, let's put it this way. I always say, we're all part of one team, because at the end of the day, if we don't work well together, the experience is flawed for the expat. So what would you recommend to someone who wants to enter the field of global mobility?
Well, first of all, I think you should want to work in an international environment. You should want to work with people, right? In a people's business. And you should be curious. The beauty about the global mobility industry, it's dynamic, right? So global mobility exists since mankind exists. It's just that it's evolving, right? Every year, every day, the industry is impacted and influenced by all sorts of changes, right? And if you look back the last 4 years, I mean, it's tremendous, the changes that we have gone through. So you need to be able to cope with these changes. You need to, like that environment. And I think you need also to want to build know-how and network as well. And I think first and foremost important is that, again, the international environment, wanting maybe to learn and speak other languages or understand other cultures. So that's certainly, what you should bring as a base when you intend to emerge into this industry.
Fantastic. And I think, we're very open to people coming from all sorts of life and all sorts of places to the table, if they bring the right attitude and also have the right mindset. I would say, you can land in global mobility from a lot of places or from a lot of educational backgrounds, for example. Do you have any particular topic that you feel we should teach? Because I'm a teacher at a master course in global mobility in Holland. And it's one of the only master courses that exist actually in this field. Very interdisciplinary. There are lots of different lecturers with world-class expertise. What do you think would be an important topic for you, where you would say, based on your experience, that we should focus on?
Well, obviously, I would throw in one that is also, in our or my interest, working for a relocation management company, which would be, to understand how to best deal with us, within because we are I would say, a very important pillar in this industry, helping companies to deploy their most important and maybe even the most valuable and expensive also talents, allowing them to grow their business internationally, right? So I think what would be certainly good is to understand a little bit the industry environment that we are in, who are the players, right? What are the differences between the different players? And maybe also understand and learn how they can use us as an extended arm of what they want to accomplish, as an indispensable partner, value the partnership as well, rather than just see us as a service provider who takes care of a home search or an immigration service or a move, right? And I think they should also learn, and I think that's certainly also what you would say, is they should have lived and worked abroad as well. I'm still surprised nowadays how many global mobility specialists, managers, directors that I'm dealing with in my daily activities that haven't worked or lived abroad. So I think once you have gone through that experience, and I have, as I told you before, in different situations also of my life, as a single, as a couple, as a family, repatriation to Switzerland, but French speaking part. And there is even a cultural difference between living and working in Geneva compared to living and working in Zurich, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I think this is what, they should maybe be instructed, taught, and also they themselves should learn and be interested in learning more about it. Yeah? And should also have this intrinsic motivation to
Mm,
learn more about it instead of just being taught how things
mm,
are.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
And I also noticed always, in one of my former corporate roles, also the host managers, like the sponsoring managers
Mhm.
that had been through an international experience themselves, they were so much better at sponsoring and supporting expats than the ones who hadn't been through the experience. And so I also think it's really important for global mobility managers that they have their own international experience and bring that to the table.
Well,
Yeah.
we could also talk about procurement. Once I was in a situation for an RFP
Mhm.
presentation for a German energy group, where during the meeting I asked myself, when I listened to the procurement manager,
Mhm.
I asked myself, um, without saying it obviously, but I was thinking about it. Well, could I imagine working for this company and be on assignment? And I said to myself, no, I would never work for this company and go on assignment. That's where, we came to a point where I said, well, listen, we'll see, what the next steps are, but I doubt we will continue to pitch for this business.
I doubt we will get together on a
Exactly.
partnership level.
It's a better way to say it. Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, and yeah, I also agree with you. And I think you and I we talked about this already
Mm,
informally a lot of times. That that this whole like invisible barrier between vendors and in-house professionals, I think it should vanish. I think
mm,
we should even be more inclusive. We should all see each other as part of one team, because
mm.
at the end of the day, we need to work together seamlessly. And it doesn't
Absolutely.
really matter what kind of provider I'm talking about, whether
Okay.
it's a tax provider, whether it's an immigration provider, whether it's a spouse careers consultant, or the person who handles your furniture. Yeah, everybody should feel like they're part of the team, I
Mhm.
think. And
Yeah.
then the expats also feel more welcome and the family feels appreciated. There's human touch.
Yeah.
Um, and one of the things, I've been discussing a lot, also with my students, is that over the last 20 years, because we have outsourced, offshored, we split up processes,
Yeah.
a lot of this human touch got lost. And we now have a really great chance with digitalization. That's why I'm so excited about your
Mhm.
report, with
Mhm.
digitalization, with AI, and with using more of this technology support to
Mhm.
bring that human touch back. Finally,
Yeah.
sounds like a contradiction, but I really don't think it is.
No, no, and as you said, the human touch, also what we discussed before. I think those who have gone through their own experience, they understand what human touch to apply
Mm,
in exchanges with relocating employees and families, right? Because they have the sensitivity to understand in which situation that person may be right now in the moment where they're talking to them, right? What are their concerns? What are their doubts, fears, etc. And if you get that, then you can make the difference and provide this human touch service.
wonderful. That's amazing. Do you like social media? I'm sure you must be on LinkedIn with your role.
LinkedIn, yes. Uh, less, less on the others, but yeah, I'm on Insta, I'm on Facebook.
Yeah.
Um, I obviously use WhatsApp, etc. But I'm, for instance, somebody who doesn't post a lot, or I don't post stories on WhatsApp, for instance,
Uh-huh.
where and some people do every day to show where they are. So sometimes I don't want to know people where I am, so I don't do that.
Yeah. But you have to use LinkedIn professionally, I assume, to
Absolutely.
reach out to
LinkedIn.
your clients, etc.?
Yeah, we even have
Yeah.
LinkedIn Sales Navigator as well.
Yeah.
So we're using that every day. No, without
Mm.
that, we would not be, communicating all the stuff that we want to get out there. It would be difficult. Yeah.
That's great. And do you have any exciting events coming up or anything you would like to talk about?
Yes, so we have one coming up in January. That's hot off the press.
Wow.
We will be supporting and sponsoring and contributing to the event organized by PMA and Mastering Global Mobility. So if you go on LinkedIn, you will see the posts. It will be a 2 days event. And if there are any interested people out there, they can reach out to us, and we got some preferential rates to offer for those who are interested to attend.
Oh, fantastic. So we will share the link to that
Yeah,
event
yeah,
here in the show notes. And
good.
obviously, if people have any questions, can they also connect with you directly on LinkedIn? Yeah.
Absolutely. Personal message via LinkedIn. Yeah. Or you'll find my email address on our homepage,
Okay.
crownworldmobility.com.
Let's tell them that the secret code word is Red Couch Talk.
Red
And
Couch Talk.
so with that secret code word, they will get this preferential treatment.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Gianni, it was so great to see you. And I look forward to catching up in person again in the new year. All the
Likewise,
best.
Vinci, thank you very much.
We'll talk soon.
Talk soon, and wishing you all the best, and nice Christmas celebration. Thank you.
Same to you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.